So it's December 2024, and we have a few new updates to Torah Readers that I'd like to show you. So most of these are administration options, and first and foremost, they deal with notifications, email notifications on different events, and the ability to subscribe to those notifications or not. This was a big request that we had from a lot of people who seem to be getting too many emails or not enough emails. So all of the details of the enhancements can be found here as always. The other section of updates is related to a new functionality that we introduced last September to do with minions. So I'll get to that in a minute. But first of all, let's jump into the settings. So here we've reorganized the settings to make it a little bit easier to navigate. You've got the email and name of the head administrator up here at the top now, and we've taken out some of the options related to email reminders and assignments. Everything else more or less remains the same. So the new tab here is notification settings. And if we go to notification settings, we get a summary of the email notifications that go to an administrator when a user does something. So for instance, we can get notified when someone signs up for a reading or signs up for a davening assignment if you have the davening module. When a member's registration is pending your approval. When someone cancels a reading. So we can see the summary here, and if we dig into it by expanding the notifications down here, we can see that we can control each of these options from here. So generally people use an email address to get notified when someone signs up for a reading. Some people send it to a very specific mailbox, so there might be a unique email address for that. In the past, the email address was always the admin's email address, but now we allow for any email address to be entered here. The other option that you can use here is to send to a mailing group. So I'll touch on mailing groups in a minute. If you're not familiar with it, just stay tuned and I'll show you where to go and define that. So here, for instance, I've got admin notifications group. So this might go to one or more people. So you can see that's updated here now, that when someone signs up for a reading, it'll go to a group of email addresses called admin notifications. So you can see here that when someone cancels a reading, it's not sending any notifications. We can enable that, and we can either enter an email address or once again select an admin notifications group or any other group that we've defined. So the same with all the other options. So this enables this more granular capability to filter out messages that you don't want, or to send them to a specific mailbox or to a specific person who might not even be admin or even registered for Torah Readers. So that's the notifications. The only other change we made here was to the billing and invoices section here. We just simplified this a bit. Took out some fields, kept the relevant field, which is the email where the invoice goes and the name of the person to who we're sending that invoice. Okay, so I promised to touch on mailing groups, so we'll do that here. So you can get to mailing groups by going to Mail. And over here we have the tab called Mailing Groups. And for that, we're starting to use mailing groups in a lot of places. You'll notice it throughout the program. So for instance, if you're sending an email from the system, you can select one of the groups and it'll populate it with the correct people. So where do you go to find that? You go to find that here. So we've got the groups that have already been defined, the number of members in that group, and we can go and edit that group and maybe add in another user, another member. So now we've got 5 members, and I'll update that group. Okay, and you can type in a new group name here, select the group members, and save the group. That's how you create a group. Very simple, very easy to use. And once again, you can come down here and just edit any group that you want. Okay, so that's groups. Okay, coming back to new enhancements. The Minyan feature is something we introduced in September of last year. September of this year, I should say, a few months ago. And a number of you have started using it, and it's a pretty powerful system. But there was a drawback in the system that every time you wanted to create a minyan, you had to type in the name, the date, the time, and any comments related to that minyan. So now we've enabled this option of creating a minyan template. So here I've got a couple of templates, Monday morning minyan and Thursday morning minyan. I can just load that template. It populates all the fields, except the date, of course, because the date always is going to change. So I'm going to select the 26th here, and I'm just going to save this minyan definition as a new template. And then it'll appear in the list. But this one's already in the list, so I'm not going to save that. I'll save that minyan. So you can see very quickly that we get a new service defined. For instance, Shabbat morning. Let's define that as a template. We have to define the date just because that's the way it works, and the time. We'll make this not too early on a Saturday morning. Let's make it 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. There we are. And regular Shabbat. Any comment you want, and then the important thing here is to define. Click on this option, save minyan definition as a template, and then we can save the minyan. So it's now added, it's in our list, we can load it anytime. We've got our Shabbat morning minyan. Here in our schedule minyans, we've got, let's refresh that so we get the updated Shabbat morning and Thursday morning. And we can, as an administrator, we can see the participants here. We can add in participants or delete the minyan altogether. Coming to the home page, obviously, we see that here in Join a Minyan, and there we've got all of our different minyanim. I'm going to register for Shabbat morning. There I am. Now, the nice thing is now we get notifications on everything. So I'll get a notification that I'm participating in a minyan. If it's set up that way, the administrator will get a notification that I registered for a minyan. And the same goes for every other service. If we're reading holidays, if we're reading Shabbat, if we're reading Megillah, there's going to be notifications coming through your email or going to an administrator in the case where that's enabled for the administrator. So we believe that with these updates, we've really added a lot of new capability to the system that was there before, but needed some additional enhancement. So this version of Torah Readers, it really is the feedback that you've been giving us over the past couple of months. Generally, we find the system to be very stable these days, very few problems with logging in, certainly less problems with the correct definitions of the readings for Shabbat or holidays. But still, if you have questions, feel free, or requests, feel free to click this button, select the type of request, and send it to us, and we always respond. Thank you very much.